The life of Ella Briggs came to our attention whilst researching the life of Otto Neurath, particularly his work as consultant on human happiness for Wolverhampton Council in the building of the Stowlawn Estate in Bilston. It became clear that she had a rich and varied career. Interior designer, architect, engineer, painter, photographer, expert in exhibition design. The expectation was that we would uncover Ella's life through slow and diligent work and end up with some kind of biographical summation. What has happened is almost the opposite of this, tracing her life from her birth in Vienna on the 5th of March 1880 to her death from leukemia in London on the 20th of June 1977. We move over that period from biography to invisibility, from discovering much about Ella to finding only traces of her, many of which are spectral and ghost-like. We are sure that this is not a failure of biographical research, nor the hiding of a significant woman from history, which has been revealed by many feminist researchers. She did not sacrifice her career for a man, even though she was undoubtedly restricted in her initial choice of career, engineer, architect, by a power structure in Vienna dominated by men. There seems to be a different story to tell, in which Ella's life becomes less and less clear, less and less a part of an archive, for example, of women architects. We will try and tell the story of her increasingly spectral life, but we will fail to explain why she seems to increasingly disappear and to remain present only, as it were, second-hand. As Beatrice Colomina argues, women are the ghosts of modern architecture. Ella Briggs is one of those ghosts, arriving in the UK in 1936 and dying 41 years later in a nursing home near London in 1977. She arrives from Vienna in 1936 and only gets British citizenship in 1940. Documentation indicates that she was not, like many refugees from Austria and Germany, interned, and that her occupation was a self-employed architect. There is little evidence to support the idea that she returned to Vienna between 1936 and 1938. By the early 1940s, Ella has a house in Slade Gardens, Enfield, near London, an address in Gower Street in a prosperous area of the City of London. This was almost certainly the office from which she worked as an architect. In 1943, she writes to Otto Neurath, asking him to help her to find employment in the UK. This exchange of letters refers to Ella's work on exhibition design in Berlin and hints that she may have worked with Neurath before. There is no direct evidence that Neurath was able to help her to find work. However, by 1945 she is working in Bilston on the redevelopment of the Stowlawn housing estate, a project to which Neurath had been appointed as consultant on human happiness. She designed houses, maybe as many as 160 were built from her designs, for the Lawnside Green area, and, in 1945, was responsible for the design of the Bilston exhibition as well as the exhibition catalogue. Both of these aim to broaden the appeal of the planning and development processes and make them accessible to a wider popular audience. Unfortunately, neither the plans nor the exhibition catalogue are now available. In 1948, she becomes a licentiate of the Royal Institute of British Architects. Her application makes reference to her architectural work in Vienna, Berlin and London, but no documents detailing this work are held by RIBA. She works with her brother Friedrich to recover assets looted by the Nazi regime. This work is unsuccessful and culminates in Friedrich's death in 1953. There is now a large gap, and little is known until Ella's death from leukemia in Ellenmead Nursing Home in 1977. Probate information deals assets of £33,417, the equivalent of £165,000 today, in addition to her house in Slade Gardens. Her will indicates that her assets were distributed between her brother Theodore, the American singer Phyllis Morrison, her companion Gertie Bryant, and to the Architects Benevolent Fund. She was cremated and buried next to her brother Friedrich. Posthumously, there is very little. Despite the existence of a small number of academic articles and academic theses, all of these are similarly rather silent about her life in the UK. In 2007, in the Pentagon Papers number 11, entitled Forgotten Architects, there is an image of a design for a margarine factory attributed to Ella Briggs. It is, however, far from clear whether this is a design by her or part of a discussion about the nature of effective exhibition design. We suspect the latter. In 2012, a room in the University of Vienna is named after her. Again in 2012, the artist Isa Rosenberger exhibits White Shadows for Ella Briggs, 5 photo montage devoted to those who have been hidden from history. In 2016, the type font Bella Black is designed in her memory. In 2017, there is an unsuccessful attempt to broaden our knowledge of Ella through a request to the Journal of the Association of Jewish Refugees. There is a nil response. In 2019, she has a Viennese apotheosis with the naming of Ella Briggs Hof at Filipovich Gasse 6 to 10. In 2020, there is a brief mention of Ella in Tom Stoppard's play Leopoldstadt. And the rest is silence. This has been a work of detection, feeling a bit like the writing of a detective novel, full of false dawns, going in the wrong direction, missing something, never quite getting to Ella Briggs. It is also a work of obsession, the idea that there's always a chance that the next login to social media will reveal a crucial piece of information about her. Hopefully this conference will help to provide us with a full picture of Ella, who will then receive the attention and plaudits that she deserves.